Respect. How much do you value respect? How about the idea of growth? How much do you value growth? Cooperation. How important is cooperation for you? What about honesty? How important is honesty to you? Is a white lie considered okay? Is it okay to tell your children the Santa will be coming down the chimney? Or does that violate a core value for you? Simple stuff like that, but it can really take an effect on your own fulfillment. You may tell a white lie, like, oh man, I really didn't want to do that. I regret having told that little white lie. That's because it's violating one of your core values. Other people say, it's no big deal. Let them have fun. It's a hoot. So there you go. That's the difference. One person, it doesn't bother them at all, tells a white lie. To somebody who really values honesty, that little thing is really going to bug them, and they're going to feel really unfulfilled for telling that little white lie. What about kindness? How important is kindness to you? And I want to cut this list a little bit short. I'm going to jump through because this is just to stimulate your mind to think about values. What do I really value? These are just some words to help you get there. Spirituality. Logic. How important is logic to you? Something needs to be logical. It's not logical, you're not happy. What about power? Is power a core value? Peace of mind. How important is peace of mind for you? What about truth? How important is truth to you? Is that a core value? Friendships. How much do you value friendships? Are these values that you would compromise to meet one of your human needs? Yes, sadly, especially if you don't know what they are. What about excellence? How important is excellence to you? Decisiveness, independence, success, love can be a value, strength, persistence, service, reason. I'm just throwing out a whole bunch of words here, you guys, that are only to stimulate your mind, because we got 5 other processes we're going to go through here to really pull out some core values for you. So this is just the beginning. Fun. How important is it to have fun in your life? And excitement. Forgiveness. How important is forgiveness? What about community? How important is community to you? Wisdom. What about wisdom? And hope. That's another one. All right. So just think about that for me. Just look at that list. Think of any of them that I didn't say that, you know what, this is a really strong value for me. And if this is not in my life, I really do feel like something's missing. Or, here's another good one for you. If you get really triggered by somebody, ask yourself, wow, why did that just really piss me off so much? Chances are they have violated one of your core values. Not just a standard, but something that was really deeply important to you, a core value. And the more triggered you are by it, chances are the more they hit that core value. They violated it. Is this kind of making sense? Our core values that are kind of laying under there? Yes?
Was family on there?
Family was on there, yes. All right, I'll give you just a couple more minutes there to think of any other values that didn't get mentioned in that list that have come to your mind. And if they haven't, anything else, that's okay, because we got a few more exercises to go through. But at this point, I'm just going to give you the opportunity, if you will, to expand on your definition of what a value is, just within your own mind. That's all that matters. All right. With that, we're going to jump right on to exercise number 2. Exercise number 2 is I want you to think of 3 people. So on your piece of paper, make a column of 3. And give yourself 3 columns. Because as we see people and we meet people in our lives, I believe they truly are reflections of one another. As far as I'm concerned, we're all part of the same cosmos. We're all part of the same love, the same light. And we will see in others what we admire and also what we don't like. And that's the beautiful thing about relationships, whether they be friendships, whether they be work relationships, whether they be intimate relationships. They really do, relationships really do stimulate some of our best potential and human growth as spiritual beings. I believe that we're spiritual beings having a physical existence. That's just my take on it. So I honor every relationship that I have, whether it be one that I find challenging or whether one that I find inspiring. So on that list, we're going to have list 3 people you admire. Now, these people can be religious figures. They can be fictitious figures. I mean, maybe you really like Iron Man. Maybe you like Superman or something. Indiana Jones. I was a huge Indiana Jones fan. I mean, I loved Indiana Jones. And I found out why. Because what he represented in those movies, he tapped on a bunch of my core values. And that's why I like that character. Could be an animal. Maybe it's your dog. Maybe it's your cat. But there's going to be values that you associate. I can't try to use people, but you can use whatever you want. The idea is just to stimulate your mind, because we're going to be asking ourselves here in a minute, why do I admire that person, that character? Could have been a character in a book. Are you understanding where I'm going with this? So three individuals. People are usually quite easy, but 3 individuals that you really, really admire. And once you've done that, under each person, list 5 qualities about each that contributes to why you admire them. I'll just give you a quick, my daughter, she's 17 now. She was one of my heroes. When she was like 6, 7, 8 years old, man, she just so inspired me. There's something about that beautiful, beautiful age. I want to do a quick survey real quick. How many people in the room here are under 25? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that many under 25. All right. So that means the rest of you guys, check this out. There has been a study done, I think I may have shared this one with you, that the prefrontal cortex of the human brain is not fully formed until about the age of 25. And do you know the value of the prefrontal cortex? Decision making. So when you think about before you were 25, you're kind of working on, I'll use the metaphor of a computer. You're kind of working on a computer that doesn't really fully have all of its components together. So that's why young people can make some very spontaneous, and you think, why did you do that? Why did you make that decision to pee on the electric fence? I didn't, but I got very close. Luckily for my uncle caught me as I was taking aim. Dumb, who knows? My cousin, I'll tell you why I did it. Because my cousin said, hey man, you know what? In the 4th of July, we have these sparklers, and they sparkle, they shoot sparkles off everywhere. I go, yeah, I love sparklers. He says, well, if you pee on that electric fence, it'll be like a sparkler. I'm probably about 4 years old, and I'm like, yeah, I like sparklers. And my older cousin, who I'm wanting to connect with, so I compromised some good sense at that point, because I didn't have it all in there. I was taking aim. And luckily for me, my uncle said, don't you dare do that. That will shock you. And sure enough, that's what would have happened. Lucky for me, it didn't happen. But a poor decision nonetheless, had I followed through. And a lot of our youthful adolescents and stuff will sit there as adults and think, why did you do that? And when they say, I don't know, They genuinely don't know. But you're at a workshop here at how to make the best decisions for true fulfillment. All right, so did you get your 3 people?
Yeah.
You got your 5 qualities about each person that you admire? Not yet? Okay. I'll be quiet while you do that. And it's great if you can really feel these values, these qualities you like, admire. If you can really feel into that, that's really giving you a beautiful indication of your own core values, which we're going to take all these values in a little bit and we're going to put them together and we're going to make a power mantra. And I'm going to teach you how to use this power mantra on a daily basis to plant seeds in our mind, because I alluded to this before. Something in life is going to happen. An experience will happen, somebody will say something will happen. In a split second, we're going to give that situation a meaning. Quite often, the meaning that we give this situation is going to be a fear-based one. Because that is pain. Now, the meaning that we give that situation leads to an action. All this has happened on a subconscious level, people. So that's why by the end of this workshop, I'm going to give you a mantra, and you're going to be planting this seed on a regular basis so that subconsciously you're going to have that in your toolbox so that when this situation happens, your core values will now be triggered to follow. So like I said, something happens, you give a meaning to it. From that meaning, you take an action. Quite often, we're not taking conscious, intentional actions. We're taking reactive reactions. From that reaction, then we set up a routine. And that becomes our pattern. Remember I told you I have 65,000 thoughts a day? And 90-95% of those are on repeat? This is how it's starting. That's how it starts. Could be something someone says, could be any number of things. From that routine, it becomes very subconscious now that it becomes a habit. That's just my brain. We don't even think about it now. It's a habit, which we do. I'm a people pleaser. I got to make sure that they like me. So that was how it's set up from a little age. I got to do this so I'll be worthy of love. People pleasing, whatever that might be. That habit then creates your identity. And that identity then creates your personal reality, which is part of your personality. Is this all kind of making sense? So if you can interrupt this pattern, and we can plant new seeds in between that something happening and the meaning we give it, if we can plant the seeds of our core values, then we can take conscious, intentional actions that align with our core values, and let that be what becomes our identity. And that's what we're going to say at the very end. We're going to have a power mantra that you get to reinforce the idea. Because I think everybody's got their 5 qualities of the 3 people that they admired most. Exercise number 3. This is going to be a long list, so I'll try to keep it short. What upsets you? What really pisses you off? What really, really upsets you? There you go. I bet that list is just... That's how it goes. It's easy for us to identify the things that aggravate us, upset us. Use that. Use it. That's your core values. This doesn't work for me. So write them down. List them. All right? Now, as part of that, I'm going to make a shorter list for you. Hopefully it's a real short list. List 10 people. 10 specific people that really upset you. Maybe Donald Trump. Maybe other political figures. Maybe a teacher from your past. Maybe somebody, but specific people that really upset you. Now let's also kind of list on here habits. They can be your own habits. What habits do you do? Dang it, I did it again. By the way, that's hillbilly. Dang it. Because we can't use foul language back in Arkansas. We can't say damn it. We gotta say dang it. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? So any habits that you have, remember I just showed you how a habit was created? So any habits that you currently have that really do upset you. Could be somebody else's habits as well, perhaps. Maybe they're not picking up after themselves, whatever that might be. So just think about habits of you or other people's. And then the last one I want to give you here is a scenario. And keep your answers short and to the point, because what we're trying to discover here is the value that's being violated. That's why that upsets you. And that's going to be a good indicator that the flip side of that is going to be the value that you hold dear. All right, so just to finish up that one, I'll give it to you again. 10 people, habits, or scenarios that really upset you. Once you got that, flip all those negative things that upset you into a positive quality or core value. Because that's going to be the core value that they violated or that situation violated. Is this making sense? Is this kind of ringing true? It's like, oh, yep. So as soon as you discover these, we're going to put these together real soon. We've only got one more exercise before we can get to the power mantra and how to use these, how to plant these seeds. What right now we're doing is we're cultivating the seeds. We're learning the seeds that we want to grow in this very fertile mind of ours. And I figured there was quite a few of the things that upset you, so I'll give you a little bit more time to flip this. And you can take this away, and keep in mind, I'll give you these course notes. I'll tell you how to get that.
What did you say to do after the scenario? Flip.
Yeah, so now find out what the core value. So like if whatever the scenario was that upset you, if you can narrow that down. Okay, it was maybe they were unneat, they were untidy. That really upsets me how they just left the room trashed. So then the flip side of that might be your core value is tidiness or neatness or cleanliness. Okay, so when something happens, our mind will quickly to whatever that was. Somebody just walked away, or somebody shot you a look, whatever that might be. Your brain will quickly try to give that meaning. And the reason why it's trying to give it meaning is we're trying to meet that first human need for certainty. Because if we're uncertain, fight, flight, or freeze kicks in. So we try to give it meaning. That meaning that we give that is usually, according to statistics, how the brain works, is going to be a fear-based meaning if we don't catch it. And I didn't get to talk about the 4 agreements, so right now is a good time to talk from the meaning we give, but we take an action. We might get triggered, we might get upset, we might flip them a bird, or we might say something nasty. So that's the action that we took before we actually even process this. Then that becomes a routine. So that becomes a routine. If somebody gives me a dirty look, I react. That routine then becomes a habit. Now you're not even thinking about it anymore. It's truly a habit. Our habits create our identity because it's happening on a subconscious level. We're not even aware we're doing it. So now we're hot-tempered. Now every time it's the right thing to. And then so from that identity, that creates our personal reality. which is our personality. That's kind of the process of how. And what we want to do is we want to plant some seeds about our core values early in that process, so that we say, that's why that bothered me. They violated my conscious intentional action now to align with my core value and not go down the other path of the feeling hard done by. Right. Is anybody familiar with the 4 agreements? Manuel Ruiz, I think his name is. Toltec, yep. And one of the first things is we need to think before we speak, because anything that comes out of our mouth is we need to be comfortable with the words. And I use the word acronym think. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If it's not one of those 5 things, think twice and say nothing. The second one is don't make any assumptions. Even if somebody does speak, don't make an assumption. Seek clarity, because that's part of that situation that I was saying before. Something happened. Quite often we make an assumption that it was a violation of some sort. So at that point you need to ask yourself, what else could it mean? These are little tools that you get to use. So before you make an assumption. And no judgments. Don't judge. You don't know where they're coming from. My daughter hated the 4 agreements because she's dead. Nobody else lives by these 4 agreements. I'm the only one. And I said, yeah, but you're going to feel the better for it. You're going to feel better for it because you're not taking on all this stuff and you're not making all these assumptions. So make no assumptions. You always do your best. Was the last one? Was the third one? Don't take anything personally. There you go. Well done. So I'd highly recommend that, and I think it might even be in my notes to use that as a resource. You can do a whole workshop just on the 4 agreements. Very powerful tools. All right, so has everybody flipped all those negative things that upset you into what the value was that was being violated? So now you understand why it upset you? Yeah? Okay. So exercise number 4 we're up to. Now, all these words that you have assimilated, that you've gathered, we're going to try to break those into 5 groups. You're going to find some of these words are connected. So you might say education is connected with knowledge or something of that nature. So look through these things, and we're going to have 5 categories. So you're going to have 5 columns. So look through all your words. Try to group them together as a family, if you will. So like you got education, knowledge, anything in that line. Try to group these together. And this is going to take just a little bit more time because you got a lot of words by now. So try to group these words into little families. Into 5 families. You may not have 5, and that's okay. If you've only got 3, that's okay. Just try to group them in a way so that you realize, okay, well, education, knowledge, and something, growth perhaps, those might be related core values. Group those into up to 5, no more than 5 categories. And while everybody's pens are going, I'm going to do something for you real quick right now, just because I see some people are having to go. I'm going to give you my cell phone number, and all you have to do, and I'll remind everybody at the end of this, all you have to do is text best decision to me, and later on when I get a chance, I'll reply to your text with a link to a Google form that lets you choose. Also, you give me some feedback, and then you will choose what free items you want. So the video, the course notes, a clarity session, any of those things. So I'll give you that number right now so you can, if you want any of this stuff, you can text it to me and I'll reply with a Google form link, and you can select the things that you'd like for me to send to you. And I have to email them to you because they're PDFs and stuff, and I'm not clever enough to know how to set up an automatic download thing. The number is 021 169 3609. 021-169-3609 and just text best decision. And I can reply to you. And that'll have all my courses, that'll have my notes here, because it's just a PDF of what we've gone through. So if you feel a little bit rushed, because normally I'll take a couple sessions just in my coaching to go through this stuff and help you really explore that. But we're kind of, for time's sake, we're having to kind of speed through them. But you can take this and develop these some more. So right now we're making 5 groups, which are all identified values from our first 3 exercises. They all have similar meanings, or they seem to easily fit together. Checking the time. We're doing all right. All right. Now, at the top of those 5 columns, this is where we're going to pull out the core values that represent those others. So you're going to have, my daughter used to love to put things in families, whether it was blocks, dolls, cars. She don't put them in families. So right now you've got your group of values there. From that group of values, pick one of those or another one that might represent all of those. So you're not confined to just one word. They kind of represent all of those values. Okay? Because we're going to now take those values and we're going to put them into what we call a power mantra. And I'll show you how that works in just a moment. And hopefully I'll get everybody out here in the next 15, 20 minutes, because I know it's a bit hot. Okay, hopefully you've gotten some ideas there across the top that will be the core value that represents the values below. Is everybody kind of with me there? Were you kind of that far along? Yep, very good. All right. So now, how we're going to use this now is we want this to be part of our subconscious, because that's where most of our decisions come from. It's from a very subconscious place. Is everybody familiar with the power of I am? So whatever you say after the I am really does get reinforced in our psyche. So what we're going to do is we're going to take each one of these core values. I'll give you an example of how I did mine. You're going to work with this. This is going to take some time. This is not going to be, probably not going to get this right off the bat. You're going to work with this for a few days. And you're going to create a statement, a power mantra, that you're going to repeat on a regular basis. Mine is, within me is a joyful wisdom that guides my personal and spiritual growth with adventure and authenticity, allowing me to contribute to all. So those are my 5 core values. You're going to make a similar statement, 1 to 2 sentences, and that's going to become your mantra. When you meditate, when you have a moment where you're just, rather than jumping on your phone or getting distracted, just repeat this mantra. Now, the 2 most important times, the time when your brain is actually the most and receptive of new ideas and thoughts and seeds, as it were, is right as you're falling asleep. So this is a good one to go to sleep on. And I would recommend